All right, so we're in part 2 of our series, The Wrong Why. And if you're new to the crossing and you're like, man, I missed some of the messages, is there any way, in the old days, it's like, do you have tapes of the old, no. In fact, we don't even have, CDs, we don't have DVDs of those anymore because they're all online on our YouTube page. And so that's the best way for you to catch up with any of the messages that you would like to do. And you can go back as far as you'd like on our YouTube page. And if you go there and you just look up the Crossing Fellowship, you can subscribe to our page and hope that you will do that. So the wrong why is something that our culture and our world is experiencing in exponential ways. And so last week we introduced this question that I think is extraordinarily important, and we're going to revisit it here in just a minute. But before we do that, I want to take you back to your childhood, and whether it was bad or good, that's not my purpose, but you remember when people would ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up? Now, when I was a kid, you kind of had your standard answers. It's kind of like, well, I either want to be, a banker, I want to be a teacher, I want to, it's kind of like businessman was not really one of the options, kind of like, I don't even know what that is. If you grew up on a farm, you might have been like, I want to be a farmer. You grew up on a ranch, you're like, forget the farmers, I want a ranch. And for me, I'm kind of like, well, I didn't even think beyond college. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up past college. All I wanted to be was a football player for the University of Nebraska. That's all I ever wanted to be. That was it. That was as far as I could ever think. And if I could have figured out how to, make a living doing that, I would have done that. But what do you want to be when you grow up? And now you ask these kids, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you're like, I want to be a YouTuber. Like, what is that? I don't. What is a YouTuber? I want to be a social influencer. I'm like, is that a thing? I guess that's a thing. And culture's running 100,000 miles an hour, and I'm going about 10. But anyway, it's going faster than I'm going. But what do you want to be when you grow up? And so today, I really want to kind of zero in on this work or career, and what do you want to be when you grow up? And I hope that when you think about that, and if part of you are looking towards that, part of you are in a job where you're kind of like, well, I'm not there yet. Some of you are in the middle of your working career. Some of you feel like you chose the wrong one, but you're so far in that you're closer to the retirement than not, and so you feel stuck, but you're going to stay there. And I got great hope for you. This is amazing to me. I hope that you whatever you choose to do, you want to be successful. And I hope that you are defining success correctly. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about this. In fact, this word is going to kind of push us to, or maybe tease us to the question that we really want to ask today. But I hope that whatever it is that you want to do, that you want to feel fulfilled. Like it's fulfilling for you to do this. I was thinking about this, about 23 years ago. In fact, even before that, in 1996, in fact, when I was in junior high, all the way through junior high school, every summer I would go and work for my oldest brother in Colorado, and he had a log home business. And then in 1996, I moved from southern Colorado to northern Colorado. I bought my oldest brother out, and another brother and I, some of you met my brother Nate. Nate and I owned this log home company together. And there was, maybe you don't feel this way, but you were made to work. Some of you are like, no, I was not made to work. I was made to have fun. In fact, I don't know why we have to work. You would actually get tired. You would get bored to death if all you did was nothing, or you didn't work at all. It's like you were born to work because there is some fulfillment that comes. There is some satisfaction that comes. And, one of the great things about building these log shells is at the end of the day, you could actually drive past that shell at the end of the day and go, wow, we accomplished something. I was thinking of that just in regards to the Life Center here, and I was thinking about Court and all the work that Court's done. He's done a lot of work here, but there's just some satisfaction. There's just some fulfillment that comes with accomplishing something. It wasn't too long ago, and if you've never seen the kitchen done, you should go through these doors after service and go back and look at the kitchen because it's done now. But it wasn't too long ago. It wasn't done. There wasn't anything in there. And in fact, it didn't look right. You went back there and you're like, well, this ain't done. But it's done now. And there's some fulfillment that comes with that. There's some satisfaction that comes with that. There's a sense of like, you know what? We accomplished something. We were born to work. But oftentimes, our view and our perspective of work is so off, and it's amazing to me. In fact, it's heartbreaking to me to see, you know what, at least a third, in the minimum, a third of your life will be working somewhere else for either yourself or someone else. Now, if you're here and you're a farmer or a rancher, you will work 7/8 to 15/16 of your life. Do you know where 15/16 lands on the 1-inch scale? Okay, well, just look it up. It's really close to an inch. So you will work endlessly, right? And it's amazing to me. It's phenomenal. I mean, I have friends on Facebook that are still some of my classmates, and if you're watching, I'm so sorry. It might not, probably not you, because I know some of my classmates watch. It's someone else. I guarantee it's someone else. They put on there, it's kind of like, every week it's like, oh man, I gotta go work, and again, it's Friday, I'm working, I can't wait till Friday to get to the weekend, and then it's Monday, and I gotta work all week long, it's Friday, it's a weekend, it's Monday, and I'm thinking, now I know I'm 51 years old because that's what Jen told me I was last time I had a birthday, and that's a long time to work for the weekends. I mean, that is so unfulfilling. I mean, if that's your view of work, and for that many years, oh my gosh, this message is so for you. And those of you who are too young to get to that point, I want to set you up for success. Because this is extraordinary. See, the what is, what are we going to do for career? And then the other side of that is how. If this is what I want to do, how do I get there? And our culture is going to say, okay, how you get there is, yes, you need to work hard. You need to sacrifice. You need to persevere. You need to get educated, which takes some hard work to show up to school every day and apply yourself and sacrifice. Some of you is kind of like when you get to college or you have this dream and everyone else is going and playing, but you're like, man, no, I want to do this, but to accomplish this, I want to go with you guys, but I can't go with you guys because I'm focused here. Or, you know what? You guys are going to spend your money on some things that if I went with you, I'd want to spend my money on too. So I'm not going to go with you because I'm going to sacrifice because I'm saving my dollar so that I could start this thing and go this direction. All of that's great. All of that's wonderful. But that's typically where our culture is going to leave it. Now, the way our culture is going to define success is it's going to hint as to the why our culture says you should go do whatever it is that you do. But in between, the connecting question is the same question as last week. Why? Why do you want to do that for work? Why do you want to do that for your career? What's the why behind it? And it's so interesting. Deion Sanders, he's obviously gotten a lot of press, and which is not totally exciting to me, just because it's the Buffaloes. Sorry, Troy. But anyway, he's getting all this press. But I don't know if you know Deion's story. If you know Deion's story, I mean, one of the world's most phenomenal athletes that's ever lived. And he's gotten fame, he's gotten money, he's got a certain amount of power. He wins the Super Bowl, right? And in our culture would say, look, you want to know the why? Maybe you want to know the why. Let's see if you want to know the why. Yes. Those of you in the back room, why will my slide not change to the next one? So, your why determines your way, and a wrong why will always lead you the wrong way. And what Deion found was he was following the wrong why, because the culture will define your why for you if you allow it. And this is what the culture is going to say, and I guess we're just going to have you change the slides for me. Fame, money, and power. The culture's going to, do you know why you want to do that? Look at the money you make. You want to know why? Everyone's going to know. Sense of power. It's so interesting. I don't know how many celebrities, I don't know how many rich people, I don't know how many professional athletes, I don't know how many profile people that need to check into rehab, that need to check into, a drug rehab, alcohol rehab, that have ruined their life, that would say at the end of it all, that have committed, that have taken their own life. And here's Deion Sanders winning the Super Bowl, unbelievably fulfilled. I mean, that's on top of the mountain, as good as it gets. This world is amazing. He's got all the fame and the money and the power. And, Deion, how do you feel? And he is this close to taking his own life. He's so suicidal. Why? Because this does not equal that. It doesn't. And I don't know how many people we need to go through before we realize, because we're kind of like, no. For me, it would be. No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. I think about Michael Phelps. Here's a guy. How many gold medals can one guy win? And at the end of it, he worked hard, he sacrificed, he persevered, he's got fame, he got some money through it all, power. It should be unbelievably fulfilling. Talk about successful in the eyes of our culture. He's got it all. Lost. That was his words. I feel lost. Really? How? How could you feel the wrong why will lead you the wrong way? And so, at the end of it, there was something that was missing in their life. And I'm just telling you, it doesn't matter what you choose and how much of any of this that you get. If you do not have what is on the next slide, oh my gosh, just hang in there with me. It's going to be comedian hour. If you don't have purpose and meaning, then you will work for the weekend. You will not be able to wait till it's Friday. And you will hate Mondays with all of your being. See, Jesus introduces us to a different way. And in Matthew chapter 5 and verse 13, he says, "You are the salt of the earth." You're the salt of the earth. In other words, you are a preservative in the place that you work. You are a preservative to keep the environment in the place that you work from just turning to hell. you are to keep the place salty. In other words, you are to bring a flavor that is actually good, that's actually tasteful, that is actually flavorful in the place that you work. That is a why you go to work. It is why you have this career, that you should be the salt, a preservative, and something that brings flavor, that the way that you interact with people, the way that you respond to people, the way that you respond to things that happen in the workplace that doesn't always go right, the way that you respond to this one person that drives everybody crazy, the way that you deal with situations, it's like, man, there is a preservative that you bring. There's a flavor that you bring. Next slide. But what good is salt if it has lost its flavor? In other words, it has lost its purpose and its meaning. You're just showing up to work. And you're not even sure why you're there. You're just there for a paycheck. Which is a terrible reason to just go to work. What good is salt if it has lost its flavor? Can you make it salty again? I mean, once it's lost its meaning and purpose, you regain it, it will be thrown out and trampled underfoot as worthless. He goes on. You are the light of the world. He uses another metaphor. Jesus is like, look, you're the salt of the earth. You're a preservative, and you're to bring this flavor that makes people want more in the place that you go and work. You're the light of the world. When you walk into the place that you work, that you're going to spend a third of your life with the rest of the workers that you work with, that you are a light. The way that you respond to things and the way everyone else responds is different. The words that you use are different. The language you use is different. The jokes you say are different. When everyone else is pouncing on this, person, you don't. When everyone else is like, doing something to the rookie that is like, Instead of using your thumb to push down that person, in the workplace because they don't know anything, and the only reason they don't know anything is because they haven't been there long enough to teach them because you haven't taught them anything yet. And you can do either of two things. You can either just rub them right into the ground and make them feel this tall because they don't know anything, or you can come alongside them and mentor them and bring them along. You are a light to the world. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. What good is that? Jesus is like, look, some of you, you're going to work and you're a light, but you have a bowl over your light. Like, what are you doing? Like, nobody knows that you're a Jesus follower at work. Because nothing in your demeanor is any different than anybody else. You laugh at the same dirty jokes. You tell the same dirty jokes. You use the same language as everybody else. You respond to things in ways that are just like, whoa. Like everybody else. You're putting your light under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand. That's what a light is for. And it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way that a light is, a lamp is put out for the whole room to be filled with light, in that same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds. And I love this. That they may see your good deeds. Your translation, if you have your paper Bibles open, it is good work. It means good work. And that word work is actually this Greek word ergon that means business, employment, or occupation. See, in our minds, we're like, good deeds. Oh, and my good deeds, I opened the door for somebody. And Jesus is like, that's nice, keep doing that. But no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you go to work, Are you doing a good work? When you are going to your place of employment, are you bringing a light, or have you put a bowl over the light when you go to work because you don't want anybody to know? That Jesus is your Lord and your master. You see, we got to have purpose in what we're doing. Let's go to the next slide. So what in our career, how you define success, where do we find fulfillment? Jesus wants you to be unbelievably fulfilled. The why, this is the wrong why. Do you need to make some money? Sure you do. But at the end of the day, and even if, you know what, God blesses you and you're able to make extraordinary amounts of money, people who get this right, they know the end is not the money. That's not the end. And they're going to work hard, and they're going to sacrifice, and they're going to persevere. God's will is for you to do a good work. And when you do a good work and you tie it with purpose and meaning, then you get what comes next. Hey, there it is. You get what comes next. In so doing, you glorify God. See, we had an incredible time of worship this morning. Unbelievable. But I guarantee you, God is more impressed with you. He is more worshiped by you when you show up to a difficult work environment and you bring your salt and you bring your light and you are preservative and you stay flavorful and you shine this light in a difficult place. It brings extraordinary worship to Him. I mean, you talk about purpose and meaning every single day that you get up, and it's so hard to stay focused on this, right? Because some of the work environments that you guys go to, it's like, whoo, it's not easy. But it's filled with purpose. And it's filled with meaning. Next slide. Colossians chapter 3, verse 23 says, whatever you do, and if you're here and you're not a Jesus follower, maybe you're watching online, you're not a Jesus follower, you can still do this, and I hope that you will. But if you are a Jesus follower, this is the change in perspective I want to bring, that Jesus wants you to understand. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart. Bring everything that you are to your workplace. You're like, Eric, I'm not in the career that I want to do. I'm doing side jobs that I don't really like that, are going to give me just enough money to get to where I don't care. In that side job, start right now. Bring everything that you are right there. See, that's a decision that you will make. This is just simply a decision, and every single one of you in this room and you watching online can make that decision right now. I remember when I made this decision. I remember working and watch. Maybe some of you still do this. I don't know. Teenagers, I guarantee you probably do this. And I guess watches are back in popular now. But, it's like you're watching your watch all day long. It's like, this day is going to take forever. Right? Will it ever end? Like I'm working and this day is taking forever. So here's my challenge to you. You change your perspective. And all of a sudden, when you go to work, here's what I want you to do. I want you to bring everything that you are. Bring it all there. Work at it with all your heart. Try to anticipate what's coming next. If you're helping someone, try to anticipate what's coming next and have ready for them what they need next. And you set a goal, can we get this done by this time? And you just go at it with all your heart. And I guarantee you, right now, right now in my life, the days go by like that. In fact, Sundays come on Thursdays for preachers. It's like, is it Sunday already? Unbelievable. I mean, the days go by so fast. It's like, whew. Like I need more time. Work at it with all your heart. And this is what's so key. As working for the Lord, not for human masters, you have a new Lord. Jesus is your Lord. Jesus is your master. You're working for him. And maybe you have a boss that's just, he's mean and grumpy and just, does stuff that's just wrong, and you don't like the way he or she leads. And you work for the Lord, not for human masters. Next. Since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward, because it is the Lord Christ you are serving. You want to talk about purpose and meaning? Purpose and meaning. Next slide. Purpose and meaning. You're not going to work for this stuff. It's so much bigger than that. So you're going to do a good work. You're going to bring all that you are. It's filled with purpose and meaning, and in so doing, you will glorify God. You're going to bring your whole heart. And when you bring your whole heart, there's 4 things, and there's more than these 4, but 4 that I kind of want to point out this morning. Your personality. Some of you love your personality, some of you don't. You were specifically wired by God, specifically because he wants to accomplish something through you, and the best way to do that is through the temperament he's given you. All of you have a passion. We've talked about this. What breaks your heart? As you're thinking about your work and career, what is it that breaks your heart that you can go to and be passionate about, and bring your personality and your passion, and realize that it's people. It's people. When I'm going to work, I want to be able to influence and realize I'm not just going to work for me. I'm going to my workplace to figure out how I can minister to others. In the same way that I don't want you to just come here for an hour on Sunday for you, but you would realize, man, not only is it for me, but when I come on a Sunday morning for that hour, I want to minister to someone else there as well, not just me. And in so doing, I will experience a level of fulfillment I would not experience if I was just going for me. In the same way, when you go to work, that you are going to minister to someone else. All of you in this room, as Jesus followers and watching online, as Jesus followers, are ministers of the gospel of Jesus Christ in your workplace. So I'm bringing my personality, I'm bringing my passion. I realize it's bigger than me. But Eric, my past disqualifies me. No, it doesn't. Your past uniquely qualifies you in ways that other people's past is not going to qualify them to be able to minister to people. I guarantee you, many of you in this room can minister to people that I would never, ever effectively be able to minister to because I don't have a past that relates. So, your past uniquely qualifies you. And when you take all that you are and you engage it in a good work that now is filled with purpose and meaning, not only do you glorify God, you will experience infinite joy. Realizing that the reason you are there is to be ministers for Jesus. And I hope that you get to experience the unbelievable joy of leading one of your coworkers to Jesus Christ. And you will get to see their stories on these screens, and you will get to see them go public with their faith, and they will thank you for the invitation, and not just going to work for yourself and for your money, but you realized it was bigger than you, and you engaged in something that was filled with purpose and meaning, and their life is changed for eternity because of it. I'm telling you, there's nothing better than that in this life. Nothing. Seeing someone's life changed for eternity and seeing their family tree change for eternity. Crossing. See, I want you to understand when you are looking at a work and career, when you're in the middle of it, maybe you're in between it, the purpose of work. That you would get to a place where you love work. And I hope that you realize that it's bigger than you, and man, when you see it as a ministry, it's like I have been called by God to do this, no matter what it is and where you are at. Can you imagine what it would look like if everyone worked with all of their heart? Those of you who are employers, could you imagine everyone that worked for you that would work for you with all of their heart? I know this is hard to imagine, but just please, just humor me for just a second. Can you imagine every grocery store that you went in and all of the workers in that grocery store worked with all of their heart? And all of the restaurant people that you encounter, and all of the fast food people that you encounter, and all of the food places that you encounter, if every one of those workers worked with all of their heart, and every department store that you walked into, can you imagine a society when all of the workers would work at it with all of their heart? Teachers, could you imagine students coming and saying, man, I feel like, before I actually get to my job, if I'm going to work at it with all my heart, maybe I should engage with my schoolwork with all of my heart. Could you imagine what that would look like? No, you couldn't, could you? Because the majority of this world is wandering around lost. And they've fallen for the wrong why. And it's leading them the wrong way. As Jesus followers, we get to show the example of a different way. Is it easy? No. Is it filled with this purpose and meaning? You better believe it. So come on. Come on. Wherever you're at, bring all that you are. Glorify God in the way that you conduct yourself as salt and light. And whatever you do it with all your heart. Would you pray with me? Father, sometimes we don't think bringing all of that we are and bringing all of that our heart, we don't think that's worship. We don't think that, but that's exactly what it is. That's exactly the way you see it, isn't it? So, Lord, I pray that as the crossing, we would lead the way in what this looks like. As Jesus followers, we're going to be the most amazing employees anyone could ever have. And we're going to be the most amazing employers anyone could ever work for. And God, this perspective may be brand new to a lot of people in this room and those watching. So I just pray that however it lands on them, you would help them to take those next right steps to follow you well. In Jesus' name, amen.